Hi, I'm Sharon Bill. Welcome to my theory tuition series where we're working together step by step through each of the ABRSM theory grades. There are loads of resources available to help you on my website. If you go to sharonbill.com, you'll find some free PDF information sheets. You can download those in US letter or A4 and they accompany each step of this series. There's also a page with links to all of my YouTube video tutorials, and you can access information about the books that I have available. I've written how to take your ABRSM Music Theory Exam. It's full of tips and techniques on how to best prepare for your exam and also how to best make use of your time when you're actually working through your paper on exam day. So if you go to sharonbill.com, you'll find it's all there. If you can give me a like, that'd be really fab, and subscribe to my channel to keep updated. And so now we're going to crack on and have a look at the last questions on this grade 5 2017 paper A. So if you turn with me to page 8, we'll be having a look at question 5. Now, I always suggest that you have a go of this before you work through it with me on the video. So press pause and have a crack at it. But also, I do suggest that you always have your key signatures, well, your major and minor, circle of fifths written out before you start, so that you've done your thinking all in one go. And there's a video, circle of fifths, that I've explained how to do that. And you can find the link to that in the description below. And so if you come to one of these questions and you've already done that little bit of work before you start the paper, these questions are an absolute breeze. And so we're asked to put accidentals in front of each of these notes to form the scale of F melodic minor. It says do not use a key signature. Of course, you've got to bear in mind what a key signature would be. And so we know that F minor is related to A flat major, and so we need to think about B flats, E flats, A flats and D flats that would be in the key signature that we're now going to add as accidentals. Now the melodic minor in its ascending form would have the raised 6th and the raised 7th, but as we descend it's the key signature only, so all we've got to do is pop in these flats that would be in the key signature. So we want B flats, E flats, A flats and D flats, and that's the job done. If it is that you're not familiar with the treble clef, if you find it difficult to read that clef, perhaps that's not the instrument that you play, by all means make it easy and just sketch out your letters, and then it makes putting the key signature in as accidentals even easier. And then you can rub that out another time. So if you're in an unfamiliar clef, just sketch the letter names out quickly. Take all the thinking out of the equation. So let's move on. And so using semi-briefs, so we don't have to worry about stems. So we're going to use whole tones and don't need stems. We need to write one octave ascending, so don't forget we're going upwards. And then we're writing a chromatic scale that begins on this note here. That's a G sharp we're beginning on. Now if you remember, we need to try and keep at least notes 1, 4 and 5 in keeping with that key note. So we've got a G, we'll worry about the sharps in a moment. G, A, B, C is 4, D is 5, so we need to make sure that we try and keep G sharp, C sharp and D sharp as that, rather than, for example, A flat, D flat, E flat. But if you stay mostly in sharps when you're given a sharp to begin with, that should just work out anyway. I do also suggest that you have a little piano keyboard to hand. Even if you don't play piano, it's good to have that visual reference. So I'm just going to put that there. And so we're starting on G sharp. So the next note that we need is an A. Then we want the next one, we'll say A sharp. You could call it B flat, but we might as well just stick in sharps. It's a natural progression really. Then we want a B. Then we want a C. Now we want a C sharp. We call this C sharp rather than D flat. And remember, we should have every line and every space allocated at least once. So we've not skipped any steps, but no more than twice. So there's our C sharp. The next note would be D. And then we want D sharp. We're calling it D sharp rather than E flat. Now E. And then if we just go straight to F. Minimal use of accidentals then. We're not tying ourselves in knots. Then we want F sharp. Then we want G. I've just run out of space. If I jump back down, we're back onto G, and then we need to finish on G sharp. There we go. Perhaps spread that out a bit at the beginning, but never mind, we've done that. Okie dokie, that's that one done. Let's move on to question 6. So question 6 asks us to look at this extract and then answer the questions that follow below. So we're referring to this. So again, we've got a little bit more of performance directions in these multiple choice. So nothing for it but to just keep on top of your revision with these. And I guess in the exam scenario, you just have to have a go if you weren't sure and just guess. So here, condolore means with grief. And incalzando is getting quicker. Let's move on. So we need to give the technical names of the two notes marked in bars 5 and 6. They're shown as X and Y. They've helpfully told us that we're in G minor. So before we look, let's just write out what the steps of this scale are. Don't need to worry about key signatures and so on. The music itself will do that for us. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And so let's have a look at bars 5 and 6. X here is an A. So X is an A and Y is an E. It's an E flat, but your key signature takes care of that. And so A is number 2 in the scale. And so that's our supertonic. It's above the tonic. Just like super titles in the opera above the stage. And then E is number 6, that's the submediant. There we go. So let's just turn over the page. We'll still need to keep referring to that little extract though. So we're asked to rewrite bar 1 using notes of twice the value. So we've got to put in a new time signature. So our original is 6/8. We've got 6 quaver beats per bar. Now we don't want to change the top number. So we're on 6 quaver beats per bar. And so we need to change the bottom number. And if we're doubling, we're getting twice the value. Instead of being quavers or eighth notes, we're going to be counting in 6 crotchets, 6 quarter notes. And so our time signature will now be 6/4. And then if we just double all the values, so if we're looking at bar 1, at the moment we've got a G, which is a dotted quaver, dotted eighth note. So if we get rid of the beam for that, that becomes a dotted crotchet. That's our unit value. So we've got 1.5 beats now in our new time signature compared to 1.5 beats in the given time signature. So here we lose a beam and that becomes a quaver. So the stem will have to come down now. Then here, that's 1 beat in the time signature of eighth notes or quavers. And so a 1 beat in our new time signature, double that, becomes a crotchet. So we just remove the beam. So here we're going to have, remove the beam, so that will become crotchet, quaver, quaver. They are half beats in this time signature as semis. So we just need one beam now, and then that would become a crotchet again. So let's add that in the correct pitch. So we want an A as a crotchet, C, D, they'll be quavers, so those stems can come down, and we'll beam those together because we've got to correctly beam them. And then there we go. And we can just finish off by putting in the slur mark. There we go, so that's that done. So let's have a go at this last question in this section. So we need to rewrite the first note of bar 7, marked with a little arrow here. We need to rewrite that so it sounds at the same pitch. Be careful you don't jump octaves, but we're using the alto clef. And so that's the one that begins on the middle line, and that's middle C now. So we need to put in the clef and the key signature. We'll do the key signature now. We've got 2 flats, B flats and E flats. So C, B flat is here. C, D, E flat is here. And then let's look where we are. So bar 7, we're looking here. So here's middle C. We are what? It's a bit low, that is, but the principle remains. 1, 3, 5, 6. We're on the A above middle C. So let's work that out. 1, 3, 5, 6. C, D, E, F, G, A. And it's a dotted quaver. So we'll just show that timing. There we go. And so we've just got one question left. So let's move on to this last question. So we need to show which chords are portrayed here. Now, of course, we can't show whether it's position, root position, or any inversion. We can't say A, B, or C because there's no bass note. So we're just literally showing the chord that is reflected in this melody here. So first of all, we've got to decide what key we're in. And if you find that your chords are becoming a bit obscure, chances are it's because you've got the wrong key. So maybe it's a major, maybe it's a minor. Now this is the key signature for D major, and there are no other accidentals to tell us otherwise. And so we need to write the chords for D major. So we've got chords 1, 2, 4 and 5. So if we're beginning in D major, D, E is our second, F, G, and then A. So let's get our triads, first, third and fifth. If you find it hard to do in your head, just skip through D, F, A, E, G, B, G, B, D, A, C, E. Now we've got to pick out and decide which are the harmony notes and which are in between sort of passing notes, non-harmony notes. So first of all, we've got a B, a G and a B. And so we've actually got 2 options here. We've got a B and a G. So it could be chord 2 or it could be chord 4. Either one of those would be acceptable. Now then here, we've got to work out which are the chord notes, which are the harmony notes and which are not. So we've got a C, we've got a C again. Now this note here isn't part of our chord, that's just a passing note that's filling in the gap between these 2 harmony notes. You can do that by step and just fill in the gap. So we've got a C and an E. We even write those out if that helps. And then we've got an A. If it were that you were struggling to figure out this passing note, if you just sketch that in, you can see you've got a C, an E, an A and a D. And you can see that the D doesn't fit in, and so just you can then think, no, I know that's a passing note now. It doesn't fit in with the majority of these harmony notes that show us it's chord 5. So if you don't spot the passing note straight away, you'll soon see that it doesn't fit in with your chord anyway, and that'll solve your problem. So here we've got a D and an F, and so that's a nice chord 1. And also you can see that we've got a nice progression here We've got a nice cadence point. And so we've chosen well. So 4-5-1 or 2-5-1 gives us a perfect cadence, and so we know that we've done that correctly. Let's have a look at this next little progression. So we've got a G, an E and a B. So there we've got a 2. And then here again we've got some notes that are parts of the chord and some which are not. And so you can see here that's just a stepwise ornament, just a stepwise fill-in really, I should say. That's an auxiliary note. It's like a passing note, but it doesn't pass and progress, it just goes back to where it was before. Just a step down and then back again. So our harmony notes are a C and an A. And so that gives us a chord 5, and that makes sense because ending on a chord 5 gives us an imperfect cadence, and so that's a recognised cadence progression. So there we go, that's that question completed, and that's that paper completed. I do hope that you're finding that helpful. I hope that you're enjoying it. I'm certainly enjoying working through it. If you can give me a like, that'd be really great. That'd be encouraging to me. And please do subscribe to my channel to keep updated. There's lots more in store. Please also do visit sharonbale.com and make use of all the resource and information that's there to help you. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.